Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Cause this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B Brown, ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're gonna give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go, 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 go. What's up? What's up? What is up? It's a Summer Friday, y'all, so we're coming at you a little later than normal, whatever normal might be, but it's still the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration. Here on another beautiful Friday, here to talk sports, business, and entertainment, and here on today's episode, which is entitled Relationship Goals. And on today's topic, like I said, relationship goals. We're going to dig into a few relationships. It's the day after my 15-year wedding anniversary. 15 years of marital bliss. We've been together 25 years. And yeah, you know how they say it on the show. Yeah, we still together. We still together. But anybody that's been married 1 year, 1 month, a day, versus several years or whatever it might be, some people several decades, we know that there are several ups and downs when it comes to marriage. We know that there are a bunch of bumps and bruises when it comes to marriage. We always say relationship goals on social media, but I ask those single people amongst us, do you really want these problems? My answer to you is, of course you do. Come join the fun and the misery. It's both. That's what relationships are. They're both highs and lows. There's good and bad. And in our show today, we're going to talk about the relationship among teammates, former teammates, relationship with your own mental health as an athlete, relationship with your own finances and your money, relationship goals as it pertains to Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide is not something you want to miss. So stay tuned. Here we go. In order to do what we do on a daily basis, I come with a crew, and that crew is none other than the Big Flow Show and ETP Ellis, the producer. What's up, fellas?
What's good, America?
We got relationship goals today. We got relationship goals today. I see everybody is sporting. My man, the Big Flow Show, come out in his Hades hat.
Haiti, man. Hold on, man.
Y'all heard Chicago's in Haiti.
Chicago flag. But
that's a Chicago flag.
We're in red today. Tonight we got.
Is there not a star? There's a star on the Haitian flag, right? I apologize for getting that right. That's a Chicago hat. Did I get that all wrong?
Cool. It's a crest. Ain't no stars on there.
All right, so there should be one. That's what I'm.
Should be a star. It's missing a star for me. But no,
because you claim everybody Haitian.
They all are Haitian. All great people are Haitian. But anyway, so I'm wearing red today. My son kicks off his senior year today. We don't quite have a game. We have the red and white game, but I'm feeling it. We're charged up. We're ready to go.
Charged up, baby. What team does he play for? And can we check him out online to watch him play virtually?
Probably next week you could, but this week is just the inner squad, so they probably won't put that out there for some free scouting. We plays for the Naperville Central Red Hawks.
Let's go, Naperville Central Red Hawks. Oh, and you know my man ETP, straight from Boston, he represents his Celtics. I ain't mad at you, man. Go ahead and rep your Celtics. I hope that you guys are ready, man. Relationship goals. We know that I have a particular relationship with a certain NBA player, LaMelo Ball. And when I say I have a relationship, I don't have one at all. But I tend to like this guy. And so we got this weekly LaMelo Ball report. LaMelo report this week. Because y'all thought y'all was going to skate. It's the off season. You know what I'm saying? NBA, they doing the little Vegas League, Summer League. But LaMelo, to me, is that guy, man. I've said it several times. I think he is the beginning of what it means to capitalize on having sort of a name, image, and likeness campaign Yes, we know it was created by his own father, but he's the first that I think in this next generation of kids or young people that capitalize off of. And in this feature story in GQ, that's right, LaMelo, my homeboy, my cousin, he is a feature story in GQ, but he says basically 2 middle fingers up to school. We don't need school. We know we going to the NBA. Y'all not big of a fan of LaMelo as I am, but I didn't know what you guys thought about it quickly.
No one is. It's not fair to judge yourself like that.
I know, man. I'm a LaMelo. Hey, man, I started the fan club. LaMelo, don't forget me, bro. I don't even need none of the good seats. Give me the nosebleed seats. Don't forget me. Did y'all think that he was right on that? Is that where we are? These kids really understand that there is no value in school anymore, or is he going a little bit overboard here? I'm the proud product of an educator. My mother was 41 years, same school system, and everyone's heard me talk about how proud I am of my own education. So it's the first time I think LaMelo went a little bit out of bounds. I'll let you guys weigh in quickly before we hop into some of the major topics. What do you think?
I think personally, this is crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, there's so few people who are going to be one and done. So few people that can come out early and get. So few people that can finish college and go pro. So I think college still has to be the goal, and it's terrible that we move away from it. I do like the name, image, and likeness, but there's no reason why you can't have it both ways. At the end of the day, no matter how long you play a sport, you're going to be out of that sport longer than you were in it. If you live to have a long age, and I think that education is going to help you out. Do you have to have a college education to be successful? Absolutely not. But why poo-poo it because he found a way to
for him.
It ain't for him. I just think it's a terrible message. But he's a child, so what's he gonna say?
He's a young man. Stop that, man. He's no child anymore. ETP, Ellis, the producer. We happen to meet, and I'll let everybody I don't give much background information, but I'll give them this. We happen to meet on the corridors in the quad of the University of Yale, as we were both attending our MBA, but both hustling as we continue to do. So we might have been a little bit out of bounds and in the sense that we weren't the traditional student. But yet we were at least in that situation, and we felt it significant enough to take 2 years to do it. What did you think about it, man? As someone who is not only, from an undergrad standpoint, but on the graduate level, you did great things. When you hear that, but you also reconcile it with where we are in both youth sports and whatever, I don't even want to call it college because everything is youth and then non-youth because all of it is basically pros at some point. What do you think about his comment? Is he right?
I mean, I think there's definitely a difference between school and education, right? So we've come to a point where there's all these different paths to achieve whatever career that you want to achieve. And so, I don't take too much emphasis on him downplaying school, but at the same time, the value of quote unquote school has gone down, right? There's all these different ways to become professional at whatever you want to achieve. So, I think he was, given that he's young, given that he has this braggadocio kind of persona, people are automatically quick to say, oh, well, because he's in a position of advantage and privilege to say, I didn't need school.
And he did clarify. He said school's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
That's
I think, I think there's a lot of paths, and what we're finding with, this professionalism that's happening, like you said, there's no more youth sports. There's all of these pathways. It doesn't mean that you have to take the traditional road. Some of the most successful people did not go the traditional path of institutionalized education. But at the end of the day, I think it's a matter of, finding where you're able to gain that education, not so much that schooling, because I mean, student debt is real. Student loan debt is real. There's a lot of different ways you can find some professional success that doesn't always come with, getting a degree. So I don't totally condemn him for it, but at the same time, I value education. I don't value school specifically.
That's deep, my brother. I will leave it there, man. That is pretty deep. And there have been several articles about whether or not we have been sold a fake bill of goods. I didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on me when it comes to all of this student debt that people are amassing, and the thought that education was going to change the generational wealth conundrum for Black folk has been undermined by the amount of debt. So You got last word there, and that was a very, very, very valid point you made there, ETP. All right, now we got to hop into the topic that seems to be the center stage topic of all barbershops across America. You know how it is, Big Flo, at the barbershop.
I ain't been in a minute, but I understand.
That's why
I understand where you're going.
Okay. You know where I'm going.
At least you chose me on Hat Day, so anybody watching for the first time is wondering what this is.
You don't go just for the experience. Even if
for all those watching the show for the first time, I got cornrows, but only half of them is braided today. So I decided to wear this hat. You had to watch next week to find out if I'm telling the truth.
Exactly. I do know people who might be balding who still go. Teaser. You gotta see the cornrows next week. I promise you will not be disappointed for that excitement.
They got YouTube videos how to make those.
I'll be wearing a hat till Christmas. Yeah.
But the topic that is gone center stage in most barbershops has been this sit down that occurred on this Bleacher Report special. Talking Chips is the name of the show, the podcast, where Draymond Green sits down with, of all people, KD. And they did a great job of teasing it. Say again.
Speaking of needing a barbershop, but
yeah.
I digress.
Yo, you always on that man's head, bro. But what they did was they teased it well because they showed that disagreement that happened during a timeout. The infamous moment where Draymond Green has a Draymond Green moment and basically just like him and KD are going back and forth because KD wanted the ball in the lives of, and KD was right to be like, yo, what you doing? And Draymond Green was frustrated because he had just made one of the most bonehead mistakes ever. So it was a lightning rod moment that catapulted into, oh, will this be the thing that breaks him up? And it's sort of had a life of its own. So they teased it. They had the conversation. And in barbershops across America, even those with cornrows sitting there to get a lineup, we're talking about it. And what did you guys think about the conversation? I thought the moral of the story, for spoiler alert, but the Cliff Notes version is they basically said after that moment between the GM Bob Myers and the head coach Steve Kerr, it was the people around them, those in power, that sort of messed it up and prevented them from getting back together. ETP, I'll start with you on this one. Are you buying it? And just the whole setup itself seemed a little bit odd, but why would Draymond Green and KD not have an odd conversation? They are two odd dudes normally. So that's less surprising than them sort of blaming it on the GM and the head coach to me. What do you think, ETP?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're grown men, right? And they're on a team. It's just surprising to me that the way that the staff and executives handle this issue is like it just feels like very deflecting, and It feels like they could have addressed it themselves. I'm surprised that as a team they didn't come together. It's just weird to be, you're essentially a dynasty and there's not really, I mean, I think this goes to show where Steph Curry does like such a great job at being inclusive and not taking that role as the leader or the alpha male, alpha dog in the locker room. It kind of showed a deficiency in this situation where when Draymond Green, who is kind of the heart and soul of that team, he's in a conflict. And so they lost that leadership in the locker room to say, look, we need to put this all aside. We need to resolve this. I mean, we're looking at greatness, but the person that usually is responsible for that is the one that's caught up in the madness. So it's just, I think, deflecting it to the coaches or at the end of the day, NBA players do what NBA players want to do. The coaches manage the relationships and they manage time, and but NBA players are the most empowered athletes on this earth. And to put that on the executives, it just doesn't really sit right. And it just shows that Draymond Green kind of took a position. And then it also is a question of like, is that the reason KD left? Did KD, because he's always looking for his respect, right? He always wants to be considered the greatest, the best player. And he was, you know, it was always a question of, you know, he was a co-star in Golden State, right? So was it because Draymond Green called him a bitch, or was it because it just wasn't, he didn't feel like he was given the respect as the guy, right? And that just came to fruition with that one instance. But clearly, if it was that one situation, I don't know that he's going to totally change. He made a big decision to go there.
Right.
And he's going to walk away just because of an argument with a teammate. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And I don't know if he called him the B word, but if he did, he probably said it more like too short than you just said it. Like we all try to, you know, made the word legendary. But I will pull from excerpts from it. During this exchange, Durant says to Draymond, it wasn't the argument. It was the way that everybody, Steve Kerr, act like it didn't happen. Bob Myers tried to just discipline you, meaning Draymond Green, and think that will put the mask over everything. And so that's how he described what was the most controversial part of the controversy, is how people handled it. Big Flo, you and I have been on, you know, we never played together, but, you know, been at the same university playing on in a college program. And now we've both been in corporate settings where, you know, there are teams and we have conflicts with our own teammates. What did you think about this description of it? And are you buying it that it wasn't their conflict that was the problem? It was how the conflict was, how the conflict was handled. It's even hard to describe this. It was how the conflict was handled that was the problem. What do you think?
I think it says a lot about KD in the situation in many ways. So first of all,
here you go. You hate on KD, bro. It's hey, you don't
no,
like.
I'm just trying to say this. I'm trying to say this.
I'm on you, man. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. So I can see why Draymond was a little upset about the way it was handled, where they're trying to force him into an apology, and like you kind of get in the middle of grown man business.
Right.
Like, it's on the court, and then they suspended him, and they laughed, and they did whatever. You know, he laughed in their face, whatever. They suspended him, blah, blah, blah. But for KD to say he didn't like how it was handled, to be honest with you, it shows you that they agree that KD was a sensitive, like fragile person, that they felt like they had to get involved.
Say the word. Say the word. Ellison, open the door. Go ahead and say it. Say it like Too Short, though. There you go. Say the word.
They feel it's a bitch. Because look, if you and Ellis get into some big argument, I don't feel like, oh my God, I got to worry about how Ellis can handle what B said to him, because Ellis is going to be up. But the fact that someone felt they had to stand, there's something to that, right?
Right.
There's something to that. I can't think of any other star where you'd feel like you had to come in there and be like, well, I need you to apologize. Like, you need to get involved. Steve Kerr act like it didn't happen because he's been in the locker room with Jordan where he slaps people. He's not worried about this. It got nothing to do with me.
Including Steve Kerr.
Yeah, you called it. Yeah, including me. I've been smacked by.
You got handed that yourself, homie. I done got slapped.
People than you. He had powder on his hand when he stayed, but Jordan put the powder. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you let grown men handle that business. But for KD to say it wasn't what you said, but it was how it was handled that made everything weird, that just proves the whole point.
Right.
If you left the organization that you think you could have won 5 championships because of something that the man said and how they handled it, so you quit because they suspended the man for calling you a bitch? Like, what are you talking about here? Like, you left the team for that? You are proving this to be true. And something about body language, when you watch the whole show, now I'm going to sound a little hypocritical because the way my camera's set up and the screen is set up, I look off a little bit.
The way my camera's set up.
So now I'm looking at you, America. I thought
that was that retina.
I got a little lazy eye, like Tiny Liston and stuff. Like
I thought that was your retina.
No, but I'm looking at this camera right here, whatever. But every time they were doing the show, they never could look at each other. It was something really weird about during that interview. The body language was bad. I don't like the way that Draymond asked the questions because he gave too much of an answer. He gave him an A or B, and he gave him 2 developed answers. It was a bad interview. I think if his podcast got a lot of views, I think our podcast should get 5 times as many.
Well, the truth of the matter is he's not a journalist. And I am proud to say that I don't know what syndication requires, but we've got reps and we're trying to hone our skills in being, if we're going to be in the media, to be media personalities. So I wasn't as taken aback by how bad it looked because everything Drake. He's not a professional yet. He's got to figure it out. Never in a million years did I think Shaq would be where he is right now, where he started. Right. So that part didn't throw me off. It was the substantive part of these two dudes basically blaming two other adults. And I think it just, and we're going to get into other versions of this.
Just to finish what I'm saying,
the
body language of the way that they went is what adds to the fact that both of them feel like what they're saying was some bullshit. Like they were trying to find a way to squash it. You know what I mean? It just didn't, just something about it wasn't right. It just didn't seem right to me. And the way that they were carrying themselves fed into the fact that, like, yeah, I know that you're saying some real stupid stuff right now. So,
yeah, I was just going to finish by saying it just seems as though this generation, at the risk of sounding like I'm a million years old, this generation just handles it different. Whatever happened, let's just go outside and fight.
Yeah.
Like, let's just go outside and handle it this way, man. Or how many times you see a physical altercation in the locker room because of whatever? I had one in the locker room because somebody tried to take my tickets. Nah, bro, I don't care if you're upper class. You're not taking my tickets. You ain't taking my cornbread. You take my cornbread today, you're going to take my cornbread every day, right? Whatever happened to that? And I think that we are just so, I don't know, man. I don't know. I at the risk of trying to be this Neanderthal person to come, I don't think you got to go around being a Neanderthal. But I do think that when it comes to teammates, there's a healthy way to handle a dispute that if you get all of it out in that moment, you can put it past you and we can laugh about it. Yeah. Hey, remember I body slammed you when you was talking that trash after the game and we move on. I don't know. I think that's
why. See, I know he was talking to Ellis just now because I don't know. People are gonna be questioning later who he was talking.
No, I'm not. I
just want to make sure, man. Some people just watch show for the first time believe that I have.
It was a hypothetical you, not you, man. I ain't spending my time trying to body slam nobody 100 pounds. You got me outweighed, man. I'm not staying in my class, brother. You a D lineman. I was a receiver. I ain't messing with you. But I'd have found a way. You better believe I'd have found a way. But that's the point. Is that as competitors, we should just handle it right then and there and be done with it. That's my opinion.
Why do you? I'm stuck on the question. Why did they do this? Was it a bag? Was it
the interview itself? You mean?
Yeah. Like why did they sit down and have this interview? I'm not like they both are rich.
What's the word you use? What's the word you use? That's too short word.
Bitch.
But yeah, you're right.
No, I mean they both come across.
Why do they do it? They're still in the NBA. They're still trying to win championships. They're still active players. It's not like Muhammad Ali and Frazier talking back at the past. You guys are still in this thing together. You're still going against each other.
Look, man, y'all not gonna like this. Some people that are Draymond fans and KD fans, I like KD and I like Draymond, but they both seem to be clout chasers in the sense that they got all the clout as NBA players, but they always seem to be in the conversation about something other than basketball. Yeah. Draymond Green, right? Like it's always in a conversation about something other than basketball. He's questioning professional journalists, their ability to do their job. I'm going to take your job. He's always in it. Same with KD. It can't just be, hey, this was free agency and this was. It's always something. And it's weird to call dudes that are at the pinnacle of the national media stage. It's weird to call them clout chasers, but it seems as though they're always looking for something else. Now, in this world of, again, name, image, and likeness, people should be developing their brand. They should be developing revenue streams outside of basketball. But this seems less about the revenue stream. What bag would be big enough for them to do this?
That's right? Kind of the question, right? Like Kevin Durant is a renowned venture capitalist at this point. Like we're talking tons of money,
kids,
no financial responsibilities other than himself. And Draymond Green is an NBA player that makes a lot of money. Like they both are highly wealthy. So it's not like you said, it's something more emotional, I guess. I mean, they just maybe emotions it was they played together. They went to Tokyo and they won a gold medal together. And maybe they were like, you know what, we should probably just put this out on the table so everybody knows and be done with it. But it doesn't even seem like, I don't know.
What's today's episode? What's the title of today's episode?
Relationship goals.
I think what they wanted to do is show relationship goals. They wanted to show that as teammates, You know, here were our goals. We were trying to do X, Y, Z. And then there are relationship goals that they both have with the media. They have a thirst to be liked. I've always said that that's one of KD's downsides, because the more he talks about, I don't care if you don't like me, the more you tell us that you actually care.
Right.
I've said it about LeBron. It's a generational thing. They
Don't be talking about my
care.
LeBron. Don't be talking bad about my LeBron.
I know. And the funny thing is, on the other side of those fans, there's this weird relationship goal thing that everybody wants you to like LeBron. If you're a LeBron, I know you're joking, but in reality, it's like there's a cultural thing going on. Like, it's okay not to be liked. It's okay to be scrutinized for what you did or did not do to break up what was, we thought, going to be a dynasty. It's okay. And move on. You didn't need to do it, but because you are who you are, because the incident happened, because of the personalities that you both have, in your heart and mind, you probably felt compelled to do it. You felt like you had to do it.
Yeah.
Relationship goals, man.
It's just so funny because I don't know, it just kind of raised more questions. Like, this is something that's completely in the past. I don't think anybody's thinking about what's KD and Draymond Green's relationship, or why did they break up the dynasty? Like, we're 2 to 3 years removed from this. Like, the fact that they're resurfacing all this, it just, like you said, it's like clout chasing. It feels a little juvenile. The fact that it was like Draymond trying to do an audition tape for a broadcast gig, it was just all of it was just weird.
He
looked bad. Hey, Draymond,
Scott Bibb, you just said, you know, the interview garnered a lot of views and it went viral and the mission accomplished. But I think to Ellis,
he put, to be fair, he puts a question mark, so we should answer that. That's why I would love to answer that. So, was mission accomplished? So garnered a lot of views, provided by
the mission. What was the mission?
Back to Ellis's point is why you're at the pinnacle. I mean, you just came out and won an Olympic gold medal, which again shows clout chasing. Like, you're trying to go win this gold medal. You know, you should have won a championship. You're on this team right now. You should be focused on the fact that next year, as a Nets, you're gonna come out here and get these Lakers. That's what you should be thinking about. And you're doing interviews with dudes about the team that you're on, you know, a few years back and what happened and how. What are you doing? What are we doing? What are you doing here, man?
All right, I'll say this. I'll let you answer first too. ETP, what do you think? Was mission accomplished? Viral content, a bunch of downloads, a bunch of views. Was mission accomplished?
Well, it goes back. I guess I'll answer a question with the question. What was the mission? Like, I don't understand what they were trying to accomplish, right? Because it's good TV, I guess, but it's a little stale. I mean, if they had this interview in the off season after he signed with the Nets and while he's rehabbing KD, then yeah, maybe it's a little bit more interesting. But now it's old news. So I don't know that it's mission accomplished. Mission accomplished that, you know, this media platform was able to get this, you know, these impressions. But beyond that, I don't know that it has any real impact.
I'll go out on a limb and say this. And for those of you who are going to use this as an indictment on my character and talk about me, I don't care. But I'll go out on a limb and say this. Everybody who I consider a friend, 100% of the people that I consider to be a close friend, of the dudes, the fellas, the homies, the bros, my dogs, 100% of them I've had a fight with. 100%. The older that I got, that fight might have just been verbal. My younger days, we gonna fight. Older I got, that fight became more of a verbal disagreement. And 100% of those people are still my dog, my bros, my home, like, because we moved on. We didn't need to do an interview and analyze it and assess it. What happened? Let's just line up and handle it. That conversation should have happened on the phone or in person. And whatever their mission was, I would say it wasn't accomplished, because we're still, in my mind, questioning, well, what the heck happened? What the heck happened? And just so y'all know, anybody read that comment, Scott Bibb said, I slammed Bob that one time, though. He lying and his breath stink. That's my boy Scott Bibb from law school, who's every bit of 5'3", and 118 pounds. See, that's what happens when you go on a limb talking about me. I got the mic. You can't talk about me when I got the mic. But he is one of my closest friends. You better believe when we were playing Madden between all of that law school studying we did, you better believe that we got in arguments and we talk bad about each other. And at some point I said, man, get out. Or if I'm in his spot, man, get out. And you better believe I was back the next day. What I saw in that interview was two people who aren't friends, who can't look eye to eye, who didn't really settle it and squash it, who never really cared about one another as brothers, as homies, as dogs. And maybe that's just the new NBA. Just a whole bunch of dudes that play with each other for a little bit, just like AAU, until they change teams and become self-interested again. I'll leave it there. We got to get into Naomi Osaka because this is also maybe a generational wealth conversation. Not generational wealth, sorry, generational shift type conversation because she sure got generational wealth.
Yes,
but she is back in the news again because of mental health. And so I think that we should discuss it from both a mental health standpoint, but also this particular interview. All right. So from this particular interview standpoint, there's a journalist that's asking her questions and basically saying, look, man, it's kind of a conundrum because you say you don't want to engage with the media, but if we don't give you this platform, then how do you talk about mental? So it was kind of like how do we do this? This is a dance that's very delicate. You need us just as much as we need you. Yet, we're the ones that are becoming public enemy number one. So let's start with that interview itself. Big Flo, I don't know if you had any opinions on it. I know that's your Haitian brethren, sistren. But
my Haitians have been showing mental weakness lately, and I'm having a hard time with it right now. I don't know what's going on, and I got to cut. I call like I see him. So I will say this: okay, I didn't get a chance to hear the interview, but I did talk to Ellis about it and got his rendition. I thought he did a decent job representing how it went down.
Can you give us that rendition, Ellis,
real quick?
Yeah. So there's two parts of it. One was, the question was from a reporter from the Cincinnati Enquirer. This was after she had just beaten Coco Gauff in, I think, the second round of the
Coco
tournament.
Gauff is from Florida. Coco Gauff from Florida. I just want to throw that out.
She's not, and she's unfortunately not Haitian.
She's not Haitian. All right, at least she was honest. Okay. My bad. Go ahead, ETP. I'm sorry.
So basically the way that it worked was she was asked the question by this reporter how she balanced the fact that she was given the privilege of this media platform, that all of these journalists, are giving her promotion and, putting out her publicity, with her reservations about talking to the press. And so she was uncomfortable answering the question. She did answer the question. She was just saying she was trying to figure it out like everybody else. And then they moved on to the next question. She broke down in tears. They tried to, they attempted to stop. She walked out for a minute to gather herself, came back, and then continued the press conference. Now, the next phase of that was her agent then publicly started bashing the journalist and saying that it was the question was out of line, that the journalist was a bully, and basically just condemning this person for doing their job, for asking what they believed was an intrusive and offensive question. So it begs the question of, where is that line in terms of what the media should and shouldn't be approaching athletes with?
And so I'll take that to say, listen, I know she may have some anxiety issues. I appreciate that, Ellis. You're out here making a lot of money to play a sport. You're enjoying the fruits of that. If you can't handle a little bit of a tough question and you got to cry from that, I don't know what to do. I mean, how can you be so tough and so strong that you can go match point against the greats of Serena Williams and come out victorious? How can you handle that pressure, but you can't handle a question about? So it's fair. I mean, like, the media can make or break you. I can understand sometimes you get a little frustrated with questions. You just won. Like, it's not like you're coming off of a loss and like you're frustrated and they caught you off guard and you snap. You just won, and somebody asked you a fair question and you cry. I don't know. I have a daughter. I'm very sensitive. I try to be that way. I didn't grow up with a lot of sisters and all that kind of stuff, and we it wasn't no crying in my household unless somebody was whooping your head. But that's something different. But anyway, at the end of the day, I just don't get it, man. Like, we got to be tougher than that. But real quick, little side note, and I'll be quick. Yesterday, good friend of mine, her daughter's going off to college. I took her to breakfast, give her that little last, go off to college, be great conversation. And she's a gymnast. She's going to be in college. And she verified the twisties are very real. And I should stop talking bad about the twisties. So I'm going to come back and say I apologize, because she said the twisties are a thing. It's happened to her before, and no one likes to talk about it. So to my Haitian midget friend,
midget
Biles.
is not you cannot say midget, man.
You can't say
little people. Yeah, no, midget's a bad word now, bro.
Look, my dad is real short. Does that count? Yeah,
you gotta call him. I think it's little person.
Does it count for what? For you to be able to say derogatory things?
It's like saying I got a black friend. So I can say that. So my dad is short, so I thought I could say that. But I apologize to all the people out there that I just offended with that. But Simone Biles, I think, qualifies as a very little person with a lot more money than me. But anyway, I apologize to you, Simone, because the twisties are real. It's been verified by my one source, so I apologize. Anyway, we go back to Naomi Osaka. Go ahead.
Naomi Osaka. I don't know. I can't touch on any of the other stuff. It's just too rich. It's too much there. I can't mess with too many layers. So I'm gonna go with Naomi Osaka. But Naomi Osaka is so talented. So talented, so amazing to watch, so graceful in how she answers the questions, what seems to be, in a very transparent, honest way. And I think she's becoming almost a victim of her own gracefulness, in the sense that, like, you don't have to answer everything so honestly. And maybe that could protect your own mental health from this conflict you seem to be in with whether or not I really want to answer this question truthfully. And I again, I don't want to turn her into a victim, because she's making a whole lot of money, and she's got a whole lot of talent that is once in a lifetime type talent. Obviously once in a lifetime, but once in a generation type talent as a young tennis player. So I don't want to turn into a victim, but at the end of the day, I think, again, mental health is something that you don't see. It's not a bruise that you can heal from. And when I hear, or when I see an interview that it seems inexplicable that question would make you emotional, yet she's emotional, I think we're seeing the full display. She does have some real mental health challenges, such that she can't control that emotional response. I think I can say this. None of us have it. We don't have that same mental health issue.
I have many others.
You have many others.
I don't have that one.
And we have many other issues that aren't mental health. So I try to be very cautious about having the conversation, because it's something that you cannot see. And then when it comes out, because the three of us don't have that same mental health issue, of course we can't understand it. Of course we can't understand it. It's like someone that has problems with their weight and they're on the obese side. I'm very hesitant to tell them about the issue that I have with my weight, right? Why are you looking at me like, I'm not talking about you, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Come on, man. You just happen to be big boned, man. You ran marathons and everything, man. You're not who I'm talking about. There are people out there that have real weight problems.
I'm just letting you know that I was ready.
You was ready.
I'm
not.
Just let you know.
He turned his head to the side. Like, what you about to say?
Where are we going?
Where we going?
Tread lightly, young man.
I'm talking about real weight issues that they can't get up and exercise, and like people like that. I'm hesitant to tell them about my weight issue. My weight issue is if I don't go to the gym, I look like someone in one of those countries that say for 10 cents a day, you can feed this kid for a month. I have complete muscle atrophy. You can see my backbone through. I'm a skinny dude when I don't work out. And that's a different weight problem, but I'm always hesitant to say it to people that are on the obese side. Why is that?
That shit.
Stick me with the analogy. Stick with me. They don't understand that as a problem.
They're not trying to hear that.
They don't see that as a problem. And I use that analogy just to say, I think that's the same thing with us when we're analyzing Naomi Osaka. We can't see her problem. We can't relate with it. We don't understand it because we don't have that same mental health issue. That the fact that she cried, which in response to what seems to me a very easy and simple question, says that there's something going on in there, man. There's something going on in there.
B, can I ask you this, though? Are we too quick in this country to put labels on stuff to excuse things away? So, for instance, I am a heavy dude, right? I weigh more than I want to tell y'all on air, so I'll just lie to y'all. But
no, go ahead, man, because we're going to record it. Go ahead and say it.
I weigh 215, okay? And so
with cornrows.
6'9"
with cornrows.
I'm 6'9", 215, 48-inch vertical.
Yeah. Besides that,
I digress.
So at the end of the day, like
I'm ashamed.
Okay, so I can sit there. I have a harder time naturally keeping my weight down than you do. Than maybe
Right.
than Ellis does, whatever. I say it's hard. I have a hard time saying no to sugar, right? Sugar talks to me. Do I want to say I have an eating disorder? Do I want to say I have an obesity disease? Do I want to say this? You in your youth, used to be a quick trigger. Did you have anger management issues? Did you have no, man? Sometimes we're not all just 100% perfect and normal. We have things that skew off left to right. I just feel like we're getting so quick in this country to just say that, like, oh, this person has this problem and this is some issue. It's a mental health issue. Obesity is a disease, and I don't want to say alcohol isn't a disease, but sometimes people just drink too much when they just act a fool, and they mean, it's not a big chemical imbalance. We're just so quick to say there's this title of what's going on,
Right.
and it runs me crazy, man. Because in our day, people had less patience for a lot of stuff, and I think people swallowed some stuff more. Maybe we didn't hear about all the bad things that happened. I just don't feel like people fell apart as much about.
There wasn't
things.
a label. I got it.
It wasn't. Once the label came out, people just, oh, cool. I'm obese. I'm sorry. It's a clinical thing. I'm just gonna keep eating. Now don't body shame me or whatever. No, dude, you did. You know me, and you see me. I look a little heavy, man. You look at my gut. I need that. I'm gonna work a little harder, man. Don't feel like you got to sugarcoat things with me. You know what I mean? I got to own my stuff. Right. If I can't handle an interview and I can't handle all those different things, work harder to try to do it.
But what that is called now, that's called body shaming. It's called bullying. What we used to call it is, you bought your fat butt in this doggone locker room, we going to talk about you. You wore something too tight, we're going to talk about you. If a shirt that you used to wear in January don't fit in March, guess what? As teammates, we going to talk about you. And it was a healthy banter. That's why going back to the whole Draymond and KD thing, I'm like, where's the healthy banter? But we call that, as a society, we would call that bullying now. And I think I agree with you, but the caveat is, and the sort of why I'm putting caution tape around going too far is the mental health thing is one thing I don't understand. And I've seen so many people be on the ledge of doing something in a depressed state to whether hurt themselves or hurt the people around or hurt the people around them, that and it never makes sense to me. So I'm admitting that I don't know the signs of it. I'm not clinically trained. And I think that label, while yes, indeed, it is a label, is one that I'm willing to give people a little easier than other labels when it comes to mental health. I agree with you on that, Big Flo, is that in this society, we quick to create a category for something. And I love the question by my guy. What's up, dog? Gary Jason Lewis says, but does she avoid the media when she's winning? And that is a powerful question. And I think essentially that's what the journalist was asking, is that you're using us and then talking about us. There was a particular narcissist in 1600 who did the same thing. We had a president that did the same thing. He bashed the media and then used them in order to create the bully pulpit that he had to bash the media.
That's a tough comparison.
I'm not. Let me step back. That was not a comparison. Okay. Naomi Osaka aside, I'm saying.
But I do.
I was using that analogy just to answer Gary's question and saying, but does she avoid the media when she's winning? I was using that analogy when it came to Trump, but they are very different. I'm not comparing the two.
because Trump made us tired of winning, so it's a fair comparison. We're sick of winning. We win all the time. But no, you know what? It's a tough comparison, but at the same time, I kind of take the same thing, right? So, as we were talking or preparing for this, looking at all of her endorsements, she was the highest paid female athlete in 2020. She's clearly leveraging this media platform. She's not holding off. She just came out with a partnership with Levi's. She's in the public eye. So for me, it's hard to accept that a situation where you can be selective about how you leverage this platform, right? So I'm of the mind where if she can't take a question, and it wasn't an absolute explicitly offensive, leading, derogatory question. It's subjective. You can say it was or it wasn't, but at the end of the day, that's part of the role of being a professional athlete. And I'm not saying I think it's beautiful, and I think it's super powerful that she's raised awareness of mental health and that athletes are human. That being said, she is exposing her vulnerability, and I think the way that she's utilizing or manipulating the platform is a little bit contradictory in the way that she uses it to her advantage, but then compartmentalizes the things that she doesn't want to deal with. And at the same time, she seems like she's in a spot where I would just say her team, the fact that her team is saying, go ahead, go do those Nike commercials, go be on the ESPYs, go do this, but we're going to be super, super protective about the questions you get asked in a press conference. There's no continuity or consistency in that approach. If she's got mental health challenges, take her out of the spotlight, let her go play tennis. She just lost. She lost to number 76 in the world after that press conference. Clearly there's something going on, whether it's physical and mental or just mental. But at the end of the day, you're extending yourself into the public eye in ways that is clearly affecting your mental health. So pull yourself completely out of it. Don't just leverage the things that you want to and then sit back and say, oh, don't ask me that question. It's not fair. You're being a bully. And then her agent is like,
that's terrible.
Super out of pocket.
That's actually the worst part is the agent. Now
and the agent's kind of talking to the publicist and like, get Naomi on the cover of Vogue. Do this, do that. Like, you're leveraging the media, but now you're going to condemn the media for asking her a question.
Come on, son. So basically what you're saying, ETP, is you two light-skinned mofos disagree with me, and that's okay. I ain't mad.
I don't disagree.
I would prefer.
I think I just became more uncensored about what I think you're trying to say. You're trying to be more politically correct. I'm saying she's out of pocket. Her whole team is out of pocket. I don't discount that she's having mental health challenges, and I think it's like I said, it's super important. And I love the fact that she's forwarding the agenda that professional athletes should be perceived and treated like human beings as everybody else. But when everybody else has an off day or they're having a mental health issue, sometimes they need to remove themselves from their reality in order to deal with that. And she has the luxury to do that if she wants to.
What do you guys think?
Go beast mode and come in there and say, "I'm just here so I don't get fined."
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I think Ellis's point at the end is the part that bothers me the most. Now you're blaming the interviewer because he's being a bully. It's one thing she can't handle a question after she won about the media. It makes her cry. You're saying that the media now should train themselves to ask her better questions and she can handle more. Come on, man. We are successful people out here. You get in front of a mic, they're going to ask you tough questions. If you can't handle it, go beast mode or don't show up. But don't expect the people not to do their job and ask you a question that's fair as hell.
Right. But when she doesn't show up, she gets fined.
Fine.
But she's taking the bags of money from the brands that are paying her to be on the cover of magazines and in commercials and all of these marketing opportunities. Beast mode, the irony. So Marshawn Lynch is a great example because he didn't have any real presence, and he wasn't like, well, I'm going to talk the way that I want to talk. After he actually became marketable by not saying anything, and then he's got Skittles deals and Call of Duty and all of these other endorsement deals as a result. But at that point, one, he was primarily done with his career, so nobody really wanted to talk to him about his playing or anything related to that anyway. But Naomi Osaka's in the thick of it, and she's promoting. You know, she did a great thing by saying she's gonna, you know, provide her prize money to the earthquake relief in Haiti. She's all of these great things. Like, she's leveraging the platform. But at the same time, you don't want to answer a question. No, you answer the question, or you just say, "I'm not here."
So she did that publicly, and she announced it. She put it out there. She wanted to be known for doing it, which I'm happy she did. But you put that in the media, use the media to promote yourself for donating the money, but can't answer a question.
No. And look, the title sponsor from that particular tournament also matched the money. So her putting it out there has an immediate impact because that title sponsor also wanted to let everyone know that they're going to match her donation to the Haiti relief, which I don't know how much it's going to be, but
she lost.
So I know, and she got a bye, so I think she gets three rounds worth. She got a bye to the second round, 1-1, and lost one. So I think she gets 3 rounds worth of money, which is still significant chunk. It's not chump change. That's a significant amount of money.
It's real relief effort support for
times 2. So, but she did use the media to do it. But now that I have you guys both on here, we're talking about like clinical diagnosis. What do you say to people that attribute being light-skinned to a mental health issue? I'm joking.
Some people say it's a deficiency. Others would look at it as a.
I hear you go. Advantage. I don't want to hear no I'll be sure. I don't want to hear that.
You know.
Quick poll. Who thinks that Ellis is more light-skinned?
Yeah, more light-skinned.
In the comments, please post, comment, tag a friend.
Who won? Who won or who lost? It depends. Glass half full, glass half empty. But I will say this, in all seriousness.
We're doing a paper bag test.
Paper bag. Shout out to Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles and all the other athletes that have at least brought mental health into the forefront. In the same week, we had one of the closers from the Yankees decide to basically withdraw himself and tell his coach, the manager, I shouldn't be a closer because he had a bad game. And it's just a different generation. And people are celebrating it. Like, okay, yeah. I don't know. As a teammate, I'm like, nah, dog. You don't get to make that call. You're a closer.
Get your ass out there, throw that.
He's giving up like 6 point something. Yeah, he's getting rocked. Yeah, right. He's getting rocked. But guess what? Figure it out. Because that's your job. That's what you're getting paid to do. That's why we call you teammate.
Keep throwing that ball to the
That's why coaches, that's why the managers get paid, right? They make those decisions, personal decisions.
All right, we gotta move fast because I took a long time to get through those 2 major topics, and they were the main topics this week, but we got a whole bunch of other stuff. First one, in this episode of relationship goals, I would be remiss if I didn't say right here, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and please subscribe in the podcast world. As you see, I have now eliminated one vertical, and we are just going through the Ball Hog Sports Talk page on Facebook for our live audience. So make sure that you subscribe there as well. All right, let's hop into NFL preseason because there was news this week that surprised a lot of people. After a very bad showing on the transaction list this week, transaction list means you got cut, was Tebow. Who? Tebow. Tim Tebow got cut. And Urban Meyer, just like I'm the #1 fan of LaMelo and I started the fan club, seems though Urban Meyer started that fan club. So it would be strange to see. I guess I could describe it as strange or just almost out-of-body experience when I realized that Urban Meyer had cut Tim Tebow. Is this the end of Tim Tebow's attempt to get back into professional sports? Was this a win for Tim Tebow, a win for Urban Meyer? Is it an embarrassing moment? Give me a 30-second answer because that's about what he deserves on this show. But we had to at least talk about Tebow. I'll start with you on this one. The Big Flow Show. What do you think?
Scott Bibb, well done with the emojis. I appreciate you. Tebow. Yeah, he should be done. I mean, he gave him a little chance to come out. I don't think they ever thought he was going to make it. I think he was just trying to get a little popularity, and this will be a springboard, something else. I'm sure they already offered him a job. It's a springboard. There's no way he was going to make the team. They just threw him out there just for some publicity or something like that. So he won. Everybody won except us.
Except us. ETP, what do you think?
So I'm curious what the perception, because obviously going into this, Urban Meyer bringing in Tebow, it was clearly nepotism, right? And everybody wanted to believe maybe it's not. Maybe this guy is gonna come in, he's gonna put in the work, and he's not gonna throw a jellyfish block and fall on his face and not look like a fool. But that's exactly what he did. And so my concern is, how does that affect the locker room? Because when he came in, the assumption was, oh, he's looking big. He's clearly a superior athlete, but he looked like a joke. And it just exposed that Urban Meyer clearly just made a marketing decision.
Yeah,
and it's really, if I was in that locker room, I don't know what my response would be, just because it feels like they really forced something. He had to get cut. If he didn't get cut, it would have been even worse. But the fact that he was even there looking like he did, it's really disrespectful to a lot of guys that are like journeymen, that are trying to get into the league, that are young. I mean, there was a story, I forget the guy's name. You guys probably remember. He was standing outside of Gillette Stadium to get a tryout with the Patriots, right, holding a sign as if, like, similar to people that are begging for change at a red light. Like, these are the people that are looking like the hunger and the commitment to get opportunities. And you brought this guy in purely as a marketing play. Like, it's disrespectful in ways that it's not just superficial disrespect. It's deep-seated disrespect as a head coach that's been in the game for decades.
Not this game,
responsible.
But, right. He's not been NFL, right, in football, right? I'll say this because I was the guy holding the sign, the proverbial sign. I wasn't holding a literal sign, but I was the one just wanting an opportunity. When I heard that he got signed, I was instantly ticked off. And I made the comment like, man, I wonder if Urban Meyer, if I call him, he'll give me a chance, because he was my receiver coach at Notre Dame. It just reeks of, like you said, nepotism, privilege. And I'm sure a lot of players, because at the same time, you're starting to see the Hard Knocks episodes. I don't watch Hard Knocks because, as I described my NFL career, I was always 53 and a half on the roster, right? They only keep 53. I was always 53 and a half. I was always 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But I'm proud to say people that watch me play know I that's what it is. A lot of people are not going to make NFL teams that are great players, but there's only so many people that can play. That's why the hashtag I go with is numbers game, because that's what every NFL coach that cut me, and there was 3 of them, right, told me it's a numbers game. You did everything, but it's a numbers game. And so if that's true for all of us, right, people that have been putting in the work on a daily basis, kids that are just coming out, young men that are just coming out of college that play the tight end position, several of which could have had that roster spot, had a legitimate shot to make the team. Yes, they get ticked off when they see stuff like this. Call it a publicity stunt, call it nepotism, but I do not call it a sound football decision. And I do not call it respectful to the people like myself who fought for an inch of an opportunity that was taken away from them for this charade. And I'll leave it there. But before we get out of the NFL, we got to talk about Justin Fields. Justin Fields been balling. He's saying the game is a lot slower than he thought. He said it's like he like the Matrix. He's like, the game is slow. Newsflash, young man, before you get all excited, big flow, you're Chicagoan. Newsflash, this the preseason, dog. Slow your roll, man. Slow your roll. But it's good to see you, brother.
If the man says the game slowed down, the game slowed down. Your ass wasn't out there.
Yeah.
Your ass
it's gonna be real slow.
You playing against 8 stringers. You playing against the likes of me. They 53 and a half too, baby. You know what I mean? That's why the game is slower. Wait till you get on the real stage. Taunting. The rules committee has decided that this is going to be an infraction. I don't know how you do that, because, again, generational, this is relationship goals. These kids nowadays, young people, in 7-on-7, they score a touchdown on somebody. They doing what that thing called the gritty. They doing the gritty. They doing all this when they score. You know what I mean? They pick the ball up. They throw the ball.
Please stand up and show us the dance. Please stand up.
I don't know how to do it. My son on it. Hey, by the end of the season, I got it. I'm coaching 8, 9-year-olds, baby. I got all the dances. I'm a learner. Yeah. But I'll say this, is that if somebody would have picked the ball off when I was playing 7-on-7, because this is a thing now. It's like normal. After you pick it off, they throw the ball at the receiver. I promise you we was going to fight. And it's so commonplace that the receiver just walks back. That's what it has become now. That is the culture. And now the NFL it seems like they're going in the right direction. They're allowing touchdown celebrations, and now they got a taunting penalty. I don't know how those two things exist in the same universe, but that's the NFL now. So this is now the new rule, taunting. We'll see how that's enforced. The other thing in the NFL that's sort of off the field, the Madden rankings came out. That's a big deal now. If you're 99 or you're not. But I saw it on the other end, the lower rankings. Colin Kaepernick. I'm with Cap. That Kaepernick. The one who took a knee. The one that the NFL, based on their settlement, colluded against. The Madden rankings have him ranked higher than some starting NFL quarterbacks. Don't that say it all? I wasn't a big I'm with Cap fan. I from the beginning, I said I'm with Cap, comma. I'm not with Cap, exclamation point. And my comma and my qualifications were, but like, you know, there's a lot of players get cut for reasons that have nothing to do with football, right? But like, I want to see what he does if he's not going to be an activist. But like, we shouldn't make this the only story when it comes, right? So I qualified. But I am sort of looking at this, that the Madden rankings show Kaepernick, which was probably its own publicity stunt to put Kaepernick on there. But he's ranked higher than some starting quarterbacks. Justin Herbert from Oregon, but now with San Diego, not San Diego, they're not in San Diego no more. Now with the Chargers of LA, you know, he got a higher rating than Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville. So
tied with Derek Carr.
Who's been putting in work. Is that the ultimate litmus test that man should have played in the NFL since the last time he played, or is it Madden got it wrong? And I'm going to go with the cross-examination. Yes or no? Is this the litmus test that Kaepernick should have got another opportunity? I'll start with you, ETP.
He should have gotten another opportunity, but that time is over now.
Yeah,
I don't think
the ship is set.
So it, you know, it's just interesting, right? Because his rating is based on what he did in the past. Like, right. If he stepped onto a football field right now, it's not going to happen. It's not, you know, he's not an 81 or whatever the rating is. Right. So yeah, it's just this weird space where, you know, this kind of like celebrity activism, and he's in video games, but he's not played a football game in 4 years. And it's not just in like classic mode or, you know, bringing back Hall of Famers. He's still in the game. It just kind of changes the whole landscape of everything. But he shouldn't. It shouldn't be a story. But the fact that they are making the comparison, right? It becomes a problem.
I think to your point, and y'all will appreciate this because y'all both light skinned. Philosophically, does life imitate art, or does art imitate life? See how deep I got there? Big Flo, what you got, man? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Is this a litmus test? Should Kaepernick have gotten an opportunity? He's an 81 in Madden, bruh. That's higher than at least three. Well, higher than two, tied with one starting NFL quarterbacks.
I guess the question is, what ranking did they give Tim Tebow? But I think at the end of the day, it's a publicity stunt. They know their audience. They know that, you know, they're selling the Nike Nation. Nike signed Cap, and their stock went through the roof, and everyone loved it. So I think they know what's going on. Hey, let's throw Cap in the game. The question is, does he take a knee? Can he take a knee in the game, or is that something that you had? Is it A, B, B, A, back, space, left, right, whatever? And he takes a knee. There's got to be some sort of. You just showed your age.
You know how many? If we got any young people listening to this podcast, they just scratched their head. A, B.
That was just the Tekken closing. That was Tekken finishing move number 6. Okay, that's I just still stuck in my head. But that's the question is. You know, they just did it. We're talking about it. We weren't going to talk about Madden. We didn't know Madden dropped.
You did talk about something, though, when it came to the shoe deal. And the other NFL story that's not on the field is Patrick Mahomes. First time in a long time, we got somebody with a signature shoe. They don't give NFL players signature shoes normally because signature sneakers. Now, they might do a cleat because, you know, you play with a helmet on. You're just not that recognizable. It's not as commonplace as it is in the NBA, but Patrick Mahomes has one. Looks like a nice shoe. I'm going to support it. Let's go, Kaepernick. I like it, baby. Let's rock and roll, man. Mahomes. Shout out to my. I'm sorry. I said Kaepernick. My mind is all in Cap right now. Shout out Patrick Mahomes. Let's buy this sneaker, man. It's retailing for $130 something though. So We got to make sure we get some advertising.
The baller brands, though. We
put some on it. But baller brand. You just keep on hating on Melo, bro. Let's get into some NBA conversation. Christmas games. ETP, you have the rundown of what were the Christmas games. That's a big thing in the NBA. Which games are going to be the Christmas games? It normally is an indication of who the NBA thinks is going to put together some good teams, good matchups. They want the eyeballs on the television, so they want to make sure that they have the right players playing on that day. Do you have the matchups for us, Ellis?
Yeah, so 5 games on Christmas Day, all day from noon till about midnight. So 12 hours of basketball starting. Hawks Knicks at noon.
Good one or bad one? Hawks Knicks. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What are y'all going? That's thumbs.
Trae Young is the villain. I love it. Go back to the Garden.
That side of it is covered. I'm talking about the Knicks. I think that was just an anomaly last year. Like, they didn't do anything in free agency. They
got Evan Fournier.
Who?
And your boy, what's your boy? What used to be for the Lakers that's going out with?
They got Kemba.
Stop. Cut it out. Yeah, come on, man. Anyway, Kemba being home is a story. Baby. Kemba being home is a story. He back home in New York. That's not Christmas Day newsworthy. All right, what's the next?
As long as they got D Rose,
that's more of a Kwanzaa game.
Yeah.
Kwanzaa.
Give him the Kwanzaa signature. Who else is playing on Christmas or Kwanzaa?
The Kwanzaa game. Celtics Bucks 2:30.
Celtics Bucks. Good game. Good game. Celtics. All right. Pretty good game. Who else we got?
Anytime
Dubs versus the Suns 5:00 Eastern.
Oh, they put that one in the hour. They know. You know why they put that in the 5 o'clock hour? That's when everybody is eating. That's where everyone's tuned out. 5 o'clock is the dead space. All right, so that's why I got that 5 o'clock time. What else is there?
Well, you got Klay Thompson back, so we'll see how that goes. And then the primetime slot, potentially NBA Finals preview. Lakers.
Oh, that's
8 p.m. Makes sense.
Yeah, fantastic.
Great game.
And then you got the closer.
That's
is
right before
Mavericks.
your uncle come over and cuss out your auntie for all the stuff, the money that she ain't giving back. That's perfect time.
Hey, that's you being way too nice to my family. It happened as soon as he walked in the door, Jack. We can't even blame him for alcohol.
That's a fantastic game.
We from Florida, baby. Florida man. Florida man comes into Christmas celebration, curses out everybody, takes all the gifts and walks out. That's what we call family. What's the last one? What's the last game?
Then the game that will watch your grandfather sleep at the end of the night is the Mavericks versus the Jazz.
It's that 5 o'clock one and that late one. They just like, we got to put 2 teams here. It is Luka, but I don't
Phoenix
know.
was just in the finals, baby.
Boring. Look, Phoenix is the reason that the ratings were down, man. It was so boring.
Look, Steph Curry on TV is good programming.
Steph Curry is. I agree. But the late hour, Steph Curry won't be there. You got Luka and you got CP
and Lakers Nets
333.
All the other games just chips and salsa. That's all.
The rest of them is bad games. But shout out to the NBA.
There's gonna be like 4 injuries in that Lakers Nets game.
Knock on wood, man.
Load management. They're gonna load manage and then say,
we sent AD and LeBron today because they played.
I can't do the back-to-backs. I can't.
They're tired. They've been opening gifts all morning. So we gotta let them. They gotta let them rest. Let's go with some other NBA stories because I think the Joel Embiid 4 years, $196 million is the reason why. As soon as I'm done with this show, we going outside and my son shoot this ball. Y'all do not put down that basketball. And if you can, drink some protein shake or whatever to get to 7 feet tall. But you gotta make sure that 4 years, 196 million. If you could do that, then do it. He did so, and I'll give the quick rundown while my man, the Big Flow Show, is having a little bit of technical difficulties. That's how you know it's a live show. He did so with 2 things that I thought were notable. First, he does not have the same level of injury protections in this contract. So that says to me that he and his people, whoever that might just be his family, but he and his people think that the injuries are behind him. The other thing that I think is very key about this is he did so without quote unquote representation. I've told athletes all the time, like, you've already negotiated the terms. And the season that he had, which was, he's the second in MVP voting. He led them through the playoffs. Even when Ben Simmons looked more like Reggie Farima.
I'm back, right?
Oh man, you're supposed to let me know, ETP. I didn't know he was back. My bad, bro. If I knew he was back, I would have said that.
I'm back.
Say it to his face.
Say it to his face. Say it with some bass in your voice there. But he did it even with Ben Simmons not playing like Ben Simmons, and so he earned his money. Shout out to him. I love the fact that he got paid. The other story that I thought was big in NBA is this new thing called, I don't know if it's new, but new to me. I didn't pay attention to it. Best in the league, where 10 league execs get together and they pick the best in the league. The voting went out on a 5-5 split. It was tied, and it was tied between KD and the Greek Freak. Notice that there is someone missing. LeBron James. LeBron James has now used that as his own motivation and sort of mocked it as, I'm washed up, yada, yada, yada. Is this just the lightning rod, bulletin board material that LeBron James needs to defeat Father Time, to become Tom Brady? Because Tom Brady used Belichick and all the ignorance in that front office as a lightning rod and won another Super Bowl. Is this how LeBron gets another championship? Did they mess up? Have they awoken an angry giant, a sleeping giant, to make him angry? Is this going to be what gets him over the top? And did these execs get it right? I'll start with you on this one, ETP. What do you think?
I think they got it right. LeBron, personally, I'll say LeBron James is the greatest basketball player ever, but he's also 19 years in the league.
What you said?
I'm going on record. I'm going on record. We can have that conversation another day.
There's only one of the three that is saying that, and it's not me. No. I know the Chicago ain't gonna say that. You say that right now, and somebody gonna be in your house taking off your Chicago hat. So I know you're not gonna say it.
He won't admit it, but he knows. He knows, but he won't admit it. So 19 years. Look, Giannis, 26 years old. As soon as he gets a really legitimate jumper, KD's might be off that top, tied for first list as well. Plays on both sides of the ball. KD can't play defense half as good as Giannis. I'm surprised that they
does try though. KD does put some D in there though.
He tries. I'm not saying he's not attempting to play defense.
He lightweighted
he is not a defensive stopper.
He lightweighted it. He got the lightweighted it issue. He ain't gonna be too much of a defender.
That's why he missed that three.
But look, LeBron needs to prove if he's really about it. Let's see if he can prove it. I like that he's motivated, but football, Tom Brady played on a torn knee ligament. He's protected. Basketball, you got to run. You got to jump. You get that age catches up to you quick. So it'll be hard if LeBron is able to change somebody's vote. The question is, who are these 10 people? Why is it 10? And who are they?
Just say league execs.
Yeah, right. But why? There's 30 teams. Why are there 10? You gotta.
If they would have disclosed the names,
question, yeah. Who are those?
If they would have disclosed the names, I think the voting would have been
right.
different. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Did 5 Bucks execs, 5 Nets execs.
Straight up. They would have changed the vote. What do you think? The Big Flow Show, did they get it right before we hop into the next round of information? Did they get it right on this one?
I think we have to start saying LeBron's no longer actively the best in the league. I think, you look at him as top 2, top 3, all time or whatever, but you can no longer the best in the league. I think you got to start passing that torch on to other people. I don't know which one it is, but again, I want to know, how did those 10 get the vote? Like,
diplomatic, I see.
How do you narrow it down to 10 people with votes for something that's arbitrary as hell? Is the best in the league. All 31 people can't get a vote. You can't count the 31 votes up.
See, y'all both fell for it. I ain't falling for it, LeBron James. Somebody make sure he hears at least this portion. I ain't falling for it. Because every time you question one of the greats and say he's not the greatest anymore, they do something like Tom Brady. Every time I said, this is it for Tom Brady. He would go out and win a championship. I'm not falling for LeBron. I'm not denouncing you yet, man. I'm not denouncing you yet. You should at least got one vote in there. And I hope that means that you do not win a championship this year. Because I'm not falling for it. I know how it is. Karma will come back to bite me. But I think it is a good story. $2 million offer for a young man, Dylan Mitchell, who's in the class of 2022. That means he's a junior, going to be a senior. $2 million offer from Overtime League. We talked about the Overtime League on here. That would mean he does not go to college. He goes directly to this league. $2 million is a big paycheck. This particular league is offering young people, maybe not even, I don't think you got to even graduate from high school. They've been paying like six figures, 100,000 or so. But this is a bigger paycheck. This would be $1 million per year. He is only the number 28 ranked player in all of the class of 22. And again, rankings are very subjective, so take it for what it's worth. He's the number 7 small forward in the 22 class. He's the number 8, overall recruit just in the state of Florida. So to be offered this type of money seems interesting. I describe it to then say, are we at a place now that these new leagues, Baller Brand tried their JBL, Junior Basketball League, got all these international leagues that are trying to come grab players. You got Overtime League that basically said, hey, let's take this AAU model and just make it a professional league and compete with the NBA G League. All of these other options, are they under siege now that we have name, image, and likeness? Now that I can go to Duke and get paid $1 million? Are these other alternatives, are they in trouble? What do you guys think? I'll start with you on the Big Flow Show. Is name, image, and likeness the answer to the alternatives? And is it the ultimate alternative of the alternatives?
I do think so, in large part just because of the allure of, winning an NCAA tournament. I think every basketball fan, every basketball player growing up in America has a dream of being in that tournament. You still do have people who are just not interested whatsoever in academics and don't want to see the school, but they can still get away with one and done. The mellow and do whatever. But yeah, I think they're under siege completely because with name, image, and likeness, you start paying these guys. The guys who are the one and dones could get Nike contracts right out of high school, and they can make enough money that they could stay for 2 or 3 years. It's going to be even crazier because now that Nike contract can be signed out of high school and decide if you go to a Nike school or Adidas school. That's going to be something even more. But yeah, I think that's going to change it because nobody really cares about these overtime leagues, D leagues. There's no flair to that. There's nothing cool about it. There's no history. No one watches those games. They're just there for merely developmental purposes. So yeah, I think a kid would much rather get $1 million to go play for Duke or $1 million to go play for North Carolina or Notre Dame or Northwestern. Then I stretched that one a little bit at the end. But to go play basketball for one of those teams and to go play for, I don't even know where the overtime league plays. No one's in those stadiums.
I will say this. You make a great point. In this episode, relationship goals is the title. And I ask you, ETP, were these the relationship goals? When the concept of name, image, and likeness came about, were these the relationship goals? The relationship between the athlete and the opportunity, the bag, and putting that in context of the relationship of the athlete with the education, the athlete with the exposure. Is this now the ultimate alternative or alternate option? Is this the ultimate option comparing it to G League or anything else? Will this undermine it? Name, image, and likeness from a relationship goal standpoint.
I think, ironically, name, image, and likeness might have actually saved the NCAA in a lot of ways because they have the media platform, right? So to Big Flo's point, there's not a ton of, when you talk about March Madness versus the overtime platform versus G League ratings, earlier on, before we started talking about name, image, and likeness, the G League was challenging the NCAA because they could pay players to come direct before they went to the league. So the idea was they're going to build up the NBA is going to build up their developmental league that's going to challenge the NCAA because they can pay the players. Now you've got overtime, so you've got all of these different platforms and leagues, But at the end of the day, nobody has the reach of the NCAA. So the irony of it is this name, image, and likeness actually might have saved the relevance of the NCAA, where to your point, you could offer somebody $2 million in a salary, but if I'm going to be in the Final Four, that endorsement deal that I'm getting from these major brands, they're going to pay a lot more because my face is going to be on national, international television and all over, all types of media platforms. So my marketing value has gone up. So my endorsement deals go up versus you go to the G League, you can make $500,000, but these brands can pay you 10 times that if they want to, if you're an Alabama quarterback or whatever role you play in the NCAA. So the irony of it is that the NCAA let all the chips fall, and in the end, they still win and might have saved themselves a lifeline.
Rich get richer. You mentioned the Alabama quarterback, and while he's not the quarterback, there's an Alabama player who is taking full advantage of name, image, and likeness. Yeah. His name is Freshman. And I'm going to spell it out just so if I mispronounce, I apologize to my guy. But it is GA apostrophe QUINCY.
Pronounced Antoine.
Mama named him JaQuincy. Mama named JaQuincy. I'm going to call him JaQuincy. And
is it JaQuincy?
JaQuincy.
Is it a soft G or a hard G?
I would say.
How do you misspell J? It's good Quincy.
You said you can get good Quincy?
Yes,
I'm going with
Quincy.
said,
so she said good Quincy.
I think he went with. I think it's JaQuincy. What you mean? If that's the least of our worries, how do you misspell gut and J? There's so many other things in there, but I ain't talking about you, my brother. That wasn't your fault. You was a baby.
I saw
you had not
pig's feet. Good Quincy.
The man's name is JaQuincy, and of all brands, Kool-Aid. Oh, some story because you've heard some names, man. You've heard some names of our black people, and we tend to do it. We're guilty as charged. All stereotypes are not racist. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Black folk take the liberty.
But hey, white people listen. Don't repeat.
You don't.
Just
say.
Let them watch the tape. Just tag
exactly.
Show, but don't repeat it. You're gonna
relationship goals. You do not have a relationship with us such that you could talk about us. This is inside baseball talk right now.
Stay in your lane.
We do this, and I think it's because we've been marginalized for so long. We have
somebody's fault.
It's somebody's fault. We have been put in positions of powerlessness in companies and in communities for so long that we got this opportunity to name somebody. And we show out. But JaQuincy, I think, is the first of the big time Power 5 college players that have taken advantage. You can go Quincy, whatever. You can
Antoine.
His reference is my mother.
It's Kool-Aid.
Everybody knows that Bob's middle name is Antoine.
Mine Bob comes from first name.
Remember, he said he fought 100% of his friends. He fought probably because of that.
That was why.
That's exactly why.
Don't call me by my name. It's time to fight. Hey, JaQuincy probably did too before he got this Kool-Aid deal. Well, I'm sure they messed with him. Like, wait a minute, JaQuincy? My niece dated somebody at some point named LaQuincy. I was like, now come on now. Yeah, but
French.
Little did I know.
It's French.
He's Haitian. It's Haitian, right?
That's Haitian. Boy, gotta be.
That's Narlands.
No,
the Quincy. I can't speak French.
But this JaQuincy or Guh, however you want to say it, depends on what kind of friend you are to him. He gives certain people the Guh sound, certain people the J sound. But he got this Kool-Aid deal. My name is Brainerd Antoine with an O. Brown with an O. That's right. She spelled it with an O. You know what I'm saying? Because she showed out. But I didn't get no Kool-Aid deal.
Sure.
Is this like, should we be applauding this? Because some names, like, I don't know. I feel like Kool-Aid kind of like, what you gonna say? You can't say nothing. We Kool-Aid, and we know, before we call him, before we speak to him, before we see him and do an interview, the JaQuincy is going to bring some Kool-Aid folk in. I just don't know. It seemed like, I don't know. It seemed like cultural exploitation at some point too. I don't know if it's at its finest, at its worst. Are we proud of this? I don't know. JaQuincy and Kool-Aid. I don't. But name, image, and likeness is really just, it's evolving in front of us. And Dawn Staley, who did her thing as an athlete, has done her thing as a coach at the University of South Carolina, has done her thing multiple times, both a player and now as a coach on the Olympic stage. Shout out to her. She just got paid again. South Carolina just extended her contract. She's going to get paid. She'll still be second to SEC, but she's getting close to $2 million a year as a women's basketball coach. So shout out to her. Much well deserved. But she has now
more
said
than she made in her career as a player. I would put good money that she's made less than $2 million in her career in salary as a player.
Yes,
and more than
she was on the very front door steps of what the WNBA
for
was.
A reference,
early stages.
For a reference, more than this podcast.
I didn't hear your reference. When you go to that tone, I know you're saying something about me.
I just said it's just more than I make for this podcast, just for a reference.
Oh yeah, we're gonna change that though, homie. We got that. I got you. I'm gonna put something on it. I call my man JaQuincy. JaQuincy gonna find us some marketing, baby. We good. But the extension she got was well deserved. But in this week, she said that name, image, and likeness, she likes it because it is gonna force these college athletes to grow up. And I thought that was powerful. She was basically saying, when I first read the headlines, like, what do you mean make them grow up? She was saying that her belief is that a lot of these college athletes are so social media thirsty that they put anything out there. In order for a brand to strike a deal with you, you've got to protect your own self-image, your own brand as it relates to its relationship to the brand that's signing you. And so this is going to make them grow up. Yes or no, are you buying what she's saying? Reg, you like that description? Make them grow up? Yes or no?
Okay, so when I first read it, like the description, I was like, what is she talking about? But I after hearing what you said, like I take my son into it. Twitter. I told him Twitter's your job resume, right? For colleges. I don't want to see anything liked or anything that's not football related, not positive, whatever, on Twitter. And I think that gave him an opportunity to realize, okay, anything that goes on here, every college coach can see it. So you have to grow up. If you want to do something, your Snapchat, whatever, and be 17 or 15 or whatever, as long as the world doesn't get to see it. So I think that some people don't have that conversation with their kid, and they just let them do whatever the heck they want to do. And they put crazy. I read Twitter all the time and see crazy stuff people put in there. I'm like, someone's going to read this. But now that you can get paid off of it and there's actually money behind it, I think there's still going to be some goofies out there, but I think a lot of people are going to tighten up and they're going to be less emotional. I like it.
Yes or no? What do you think, man? Is she right? Is this a sort of a boost to cut the umbilical cord and grow up, you little spoiled student athlete? Grow up.
So she has a point about being more responsible in your public image because now there's more on the line. So I can respect that. But in terms of growing up, more money means more people tending to you, more people looking out for you. So these quote unquote spoiled athletes, now they got brands that are going to cater to them. They got other entities, agencies that are looking at trying to get them deals, that are, answering their beck and calls. They got agents. So they're not growing up. They're just being more publicly responsible. But I think in reality, it creates more of a crutch where you have all these people that are catering to already, youth, spoiled youth, or youth that are wildly catered to because of the potential. Now you have youth that are being catered to because of the current reality and the monetization of their, name, image, and likeness. So it cuts both ways. I think it's about being smart of what you present. But on the flip side, now you just have more people just yesing you and catering to your every need and being, your agent, your manager, your brand endorsement, your coaches. And ultimately, these kids are becoming the center of their own universe. Like LaMelo Ball has a perspective that he has for a reason. And it's not a bad one, but it is one that makes him the center of his universe.
Right.
And it gives him a sense of entitlement. And that's the fear where some people won't manage it appropriately. While they might grow up and be publicly responsible, doesn't mean that they're going to be responsible as young adults.
And she would never say this, but I'll add to what she said because to a certain degree she is right. But I would say that the NCAA needs to grow up too. NCAA should have been a lot more instrumental in what this rollout looked like and creating some sort of, it didn't have to be regulatory, but a design. Yeah, just do something. So 18, 19, 20, 21, like young, very young adults, fresh out of high school, aren't left to their own vices to make these decisions. So I would say that the NCAA was most childish in what this looks like now. All right, man. This has been the relationship goals episode. That's the meat and potatoes. Every week we have to take a lot of stuff out. So we'll do the producer's cut real quick. I think that this has been a fun ride, man. Sports, business, and entertainment. And we've gotten all of them. Check, and check. Relationships with your teammates, relationship with your former teammates, relationships with the leagues, relationships with the in terms of your business relationships and the contracts, relationships in terms of entertainment. Because one relationship that we're gonna get to is in the heart of entertainment. Been a great show. Let's get to the producer's cut before we get out of here. What you got, ETP?
Yeah, so Sha'Carri Richardson back on the track.
Man. You
Sha'Carri. It's
I
Sha'Carri.
don't. Is it Sha'Carri?
It's Quincy and Sha'Carri
and Antoine.
And all from the SEC. Come on, SEC.
Right.
So I ain't from the SEC.
Miss Richardson back running.
Miss Richardson, if you're nasty, go ahead.
She has served her suspension. She will compete in the Prefontaine Classic starting today, but she runs tomorrow against all the returning medalists from the country of Jamaica.
Yeah,
in the 100. So tomorrow
let's get
afternoon.
It on. To all my Jamaican brethren who've been talking that trash and said she got lucky because she failed the weed test because she would have got burnt by the. We gonna see. Wham. Was that a good? That was
Wham.
Wow.
The last one was all right. Wham.
Wow.
Actually, I'm gonna be with all my Jamaican friends tomorrow. Watch that.
That's a U.S. territory.
U.S. territory. Yeah.
Wham.
What else you got for us, man? Touche.
Drake is giving out gifts. So we talked a few weeks back about he took his
who'd you say giving out gifts?
Drizzy Who? Drake. The sixth
captain
god.
Team Light Skin. I knew this had to get on the producer's cut. Go ahead, give us the Team Light Skin captain. What did he do?
Man,
what did he do?
When you're winning, you're winning. We could say it's correlated to his melanin and complexion, or we could say it's just by
something
chance.
else. But
he's a light-skinned successful person, or he's a successful person that just happens to be light-skinned.
Yes, for that. Yes, he is both. Baby.
So
go ahead.
So he recently, I guess as an extension of him dating this woman, gave Bronny James' teammate, who is also this woman's son, a custom-made chain with tons of diamonds, had the OVO owl, and basically just trying to, I guess, solidify his relationship with the mom.
This kid is the top 10 player in the nation going to UCLA this year.
Yeah, he's a certified baller. And signed to UCLA. We'll see if he goes to UCLA. But with name, image, and likeness, why not? But I'll say this.
Yeah,
for all of the dudes that stepped into a situation to be the assumed stepdad, that had to go take this old bad little boy to a game and in the backseat here, you ain't my daddy. Take him to the barbershop. Nasty nappy head get cut. They had to take him to the mall, take him to the zoo. This ain't right, man. All Drizzy got to do is go buy some ice and he's well embraced. You know what I mean?
Is it okay if I take your mama out tonight?
You ain't my daddy.
Play with
you know what I mean? Dudes that heard that. That ain't right, Drizzy Drake. I'm sick of you light-skinned dudes, man. I'm fed up. What else you got, ETP?
Hey, you gotta know you build your advocates. So now the son's like, Mom, where's Drake? Why are you gonna go see Drake?
Man, you better act right with Drake.
Yeah,
call him back, tell him you sorry.
Right. All right, don't get fresh with Drake.
Right.
That's my stepdaddy.
Right.
Amari Bailey, number three ranked. He's not just
Shout
a
out.
teammate.
He's from Chicago.
He's
from Chicago, baby.
Mr. Basketball in LA, in California. Third ranked of the class of 2022, so he's legit.
Never lost to him. Hey, just like what's your boy LaMelo's dad?
LeVar Ball.
Never
lost.
We played him 3 times and we never lost to him. Never lost.
Show me the video. I don't believe it. Go ahead, ETP. I gotta check the tape. I'm looking. Now we'll see after the show. I want to see the tape. Go ahead.
Another
ETP.
basketball phenom, Hansel Emmanuel Donato, is a high school basketball player, pretty viral on Instagram because he's actually got one arm, and he just received a D1 scholarship offer from HBCU, Tennessee State.
So you gonna clap? That's what
where.
I'm clapping for the news, man. Go ahead, bro. You stupid.
I mean, that's disrespectful.
So
I bet he can clap. That man could dunk. That man, he's nice with it, man. I watched a lot of his videos. If there's anybody could figure out a way to make a sound with clapping and only have one hand, this young man can do it. He's special. He is special. He's a special basketball player. In addition to being someone that only has one arm, which is amazing.
Yeah, he lost it, freak accident. A wall fell on him when he was a kid, lost his arm. And he had an arm. He had two arms at one point. So he learned how to maneuver with one arm, and to the point where his athleticism
shout out
he's an elite athlete. So
what's his name? I gotta stop referring to him.
Emmanuel Hansel Donato.
I shall refer to you after I get your name down.
Hansel Emmanuel Donato. Yeah,
I will refer to you by name from now on, sir. Congratulations to you. Keep working hard, brother. What else we got? I don't think that's the last scholarship offer he's gonna get either, because the kid can play. What else you got, ETP? Producers cut wrapping up soon. What you got, man?
Yep, real quick, two more. So Rasheed Wallace, former Bad Boys 2.0 NBA champion, is joining Penny Hardaway at the University of Memphis coaching staff as an assistant, along with Larry Brown, who coached him when he played for the Pistons and they won 2 NBA championships.
Oh, like it, man. I like Rasheed. I like all of these coaches. You talk about relationship goals. To be able to take relationships that have been established for years and then reinvent them in a more executive decision-making format. Those former players are now coaching together. I love to see it, man. And I know at one point Rasheed probably played for Larry Brown. I'm assuming Philly, somewhere he played for Larry Brown, because Larry Brown coached forever.
He played for Detroit.
For Detroit. Sorry, I messed it up. You just said that. Sometimes I don't pay close attention. But the fact that the relationship is now morphed into what's going to be peers, coaches together, I love seeing it, man.
Yeah. And then the last story. So Major League Baseball with a bit of a change up, no pun intended. So they're looking at salary changes as a proposal. Obviously, Major League Baseball players have historically been the most highest paid players or athletes, obviously, with the decline and with the growth of the NBA and other sports changes, but they are looking to lower the luxury tax threshold from 210 million down to 180 million to try to, balance the power a little bit, which isn't actually the story. The other story is now they're also looking to impose a minimum to maintain competitiveness. So teams can't just basically have a farm league team and be profitable. So the minimum salary for the team minimum is 100 million that's proposed. So first time
I
ever,
love it, man.
A minimum salary.
Can you imagine being there and all of a sudden somebody's like, man, we got to give you an extra meal because we short.
Sure. Yeah. The reason I love it is I think it not only benefits the player, the one that you just described, but this is a rule that's going to benefit the fans. Too many fans have been blindly loyal to organizations that aren't putting any money into building a team, because they know that with baseball, especially with baseball and then the Knicks, blindly loyal fandom that regardless of what is out there, they still gonna go to opening day and they still gonna go to game. And I just don't understand it. So I think this helps not only the players, as Big Flo described, but also the fans. So this is a win for those two groups as they pertain to baseball.
And that's the end of the line.
And that's the producer's cut. All right. We're going to take us home. Fellas, like always, we appreciate you, man. It's a Relationship Goals episode. You know who it was. That was the Big Flo Show and ETP Ellis, the producer, joining me as always, bringing that rough, rugged, and raw heat. Couldn't do it without him, man. So I appreciate you guys, fellas. This week's episode, and I'll say before we close out, like always, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Please subscribe in the podcast universe. This week's episode was relationship goals. I started off talking about the fact that I just celebrated 15 years of marital bliss, and I described them as ups and downs. My wife and I been together 25 years, and we dated for 10 years, some on, some off, a lot off, and a lot on, and it's the highs and the lows. And then we pivoted and talked about those relationships as they pertain to sports, business, and entertainment. I'll close also with this personal news that my oldest son, my 10-year-old, got word by way of social media and people that he is officially ranked, nationally ranked as a basketball player. Do I think they should rank 10-year-olds? No. But do I understand that they will and they will continue to do it and that it will grow? Yes. That's where we're going with this youth sports thing. And while I did love seeing my son take personal delight in being ranked, I wanted to use it, and I did use it as an opportunity to tell him, it doesn't matter. You're 10 years old. Enjoy this moment, celebrate it with your friends, but it doesn't matter. You're 10 years old. Rankings don't matter. And I leave that here because with a lot of these youth sports, as I prepare my team, East Orange Junior Jaguars, Mighty Mike, to embark on a new year, as a lot of parents, a lot of coaches are helping their kids get ready for football, basketball, baseball, whatever your sport, hockey. Just remember, from a relationship goal standpoint, the rankings, the results, all of those things, they don't matter. The real relationship goal is build one with your kids. Remember the time you took them to the game. Remember the time they had a bad game and you took them for ice cream anyway. That's what sports can be. That's what sports should be. As I told my son, use this as a moment to celebrate and just a moment. Never refer to yourself as being ranked when you're talking to other people. Let your work speak for itself. Let this be an example of what hard work can do for you, not only in sports, but in the classroom, in life. Relationship goals should be, let's use the sport to teach these kids about life and stop exploiting the sport and these kids for all that we do through the rankings, through the tournaments, through the social media posts. Let's have a new relationship with sports. And that's sports, business, entertainment from the Ball Hog Sports Talk. You know what it is. It's your boy, B Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mountain South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, here with another fabulous week. This was the relationship goals episode of the Ball Hog Sports Talk. And officially, we is out.